With Digimon Survive's release date this month, holy moly, it feels so cathartic to finally have a new Digimon game that is actually releasing worldwide, especially one we have waited so long for. But you know, that got me thinking that there are a ton of Digimon games that just never left Japan, never saw a worldwide release, that were never translated or never even in consideration to leave Japan, and therefore non-Japanese fans never got to play them. And so on today's video, I'm going to be talking about 10 of those games that I think you have likely never played. What is up, digital companions? My name is Karn EX and welcome back to another video, and if it's not welcome back, well, you should make it welcome back. Subscribe so that you aren't left out in future. Like a Digimon fan trying to play a WonderSwan game. And today I am not going to be talking about Digimon games that have really easily available fan translations. So no Adventure PSP, Redigitized Decode, or even the Rio WonderSwan games, as they all do seem to either be getting translated or slowly in the process of translating. So we are going to be leaving those for this video. Digimon Story Last Evolution is also about to get a public fan translation that is sort of being wrapped up this month. It was originally on this list, but now isn't. So I would really recommend you checking out these fan translations yourself because they are really accessible, really easy to get working with your legal backups, right guys? And so let's begin with Digimon Story Super Cross Wars Blue and Red. These are kind of the long-lost Digimon Story DS games for many people. They are first and foremost story games, but of course were also tie-ins to the Digimon season Cross Wars or Fusion in the West. And I'm sort of super weirdly fond of Digimon anime video game tie-ins. While Digimon World Data Squad, aka Digimon Savers Another Mission, is kind of bullshit with its seemingly random difficulty curve and has some interesting narrative and gameplay choices, I still really had a lot of fun playing through it on stream. And I also really love playing through the English fan translation of Digimon Adventure on PSP. But Super Cross Wars is one of very few anime tie-ins that remains this white whale's white whale. The story is fairly simple, with Taiki being summoned to the digital world and leading to him commanding Team Crossheart, just like the show. And the gameplay will be incredibly familiar to anyone who's played Digimon World DS or World Dawn and Dusk, but with some really nice looking quality of life features and dynamic graphic additions to the menus and overworld sprites. This is one I've heard rumours of fan translations over the years, but I've never seen anything materialise. If anyone's thinking about doing it, please do. And then is our other notable Digimon tie-in game, Digimon Universe App Monsters for the 3DS. Man, the 3DS really was skipped outside of Japan as far as it goes for Digimon fans. And that's always been a huge shame for me because I have a massive soft spot for the 3DS. It's one of my favourite handhelds of all time. And while it's nice now that thanks to, again, fan translations, we're able to play Redigitized Decode on my developer kit 3DS. I still just wish 2013 Karn could have experienced that game properly. Okay, not little, but 19-year-old me going to the store to buy a Digimon game for 3DS would have been kind of huge. Anyway, Digimon Universe App Monsters for 3DS is an interesting beast as far as anime tie-in games go. In Data Squad, Adventure, and Cross Wars, you control the protagonists from the relevant anime, so Marcus, Tai, and Taiki. But in Digimon Universe App Monsters, you play as protagonist. Another one of those.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
No, but Haru Shinkai's regional variants here come in two gender flavors, Kazuki and Itsuki. These characters eventually got those names, but yeah, when the game first came out, they were just called protagonist. Literally Protag-kun in the digital world with their partner Digimon, or Appmon, Onmon, who is called Onmon because he's literally an on switch. Adventure ho! The gameplay itself is interesting. There's a lot from what I can research that feels very reminiscent to Cyber Sleuth, but kind of chibi? It almost feels like the Crystal Chronicles to Cyber Sleuth's Final Fantasy. And this probably isn't unintentional with Cyber Sleuth releasing in 2015 and App Monsters releasing in 2016, but they were helmed by two completely different teams. This game, unfortunately, is probably forever in Appmon jail, and while I do feel somewhat confident that one day we may at least see Appmon cards, according to VG charts, this game made 0.02 million sales in Japan, aka 20,000 lifetime sales. Oof. Yeah, I highly doubt Bandai Namco is trying to pull a Sony and re-release this Morbius. Okay, then is Digimon World Digital Card Battle. And now you're probably ready to type, oh, Karn, I've actually played this game. Many people played it on the PlayStation 1. No, you didn't. Well, some of you might have, but most of you didn't. You fool, you ingrate. Digimon World Digital Card Battle is actually a completely different game to Digimon Digital Card Battle. Yeah. I don't know why I'm making this point, really. The PlayStation 1 game you're probably thinking of is known in Japan as Digimon World Digital Card Arena. Wow, I bet you feel stupid now, huh, person I made up for the purposes of this script? Now, believe it or not, I actually do research for these videos, and by research I mean a lot of Googling. But given that we have a game titled Digimon World Digital Card Battle, and a game titled Digimon World Digital Card Arena, and that became known as Digimon Digital Card Battle in English, weirdly, this game is a bit hard to research. Google doesn't even know the difference between Digimon Adventure and Digimon Adventure 2020 anymore. When I specifically search Digimon Adventure 1999, I still get some results from Digimon Adventure 2020. Thank you, Google, very cool. Someone's gonna be like, oh, you should use Ask Jeeves. What I was able to find on YouTube is the intro of the game showing a Leomon facing off against a Greymon, and my god, PS1 Digimon game intro cinematics were phenomenal. And of course, the savior of idiotic digitubers like me, Wikimon, also has resources and information on this game that I definitely advise giving a read of, including that pre-orders of the game came bundled with this dope-ass Greymon Hyper Colosseum card, which uses the render of Greymon from the intro, and first pressings of the game came with a Metal Greymon card too. I'm really not sure how many people in the Digimon community are like itching to play this game, but its setup and story are actually very similar to Digimon World itself, with the player character being transported to Fire Island, given a Digivice by Babamon, not Gigimon, and the story even culminates at Infinity Mountain, which is incredibly interesting to me. So while Bandai Namco are probably never going to translate it, I do think this would be a strong contender for fan translation. And our next game is Digimon Tamer's Pocket Kulumon, and this is the kind of Chao Garden of Digimon. Pocket Kulumon is a PS1 game designed specifically to work with the Pocket Station, a kind of PS1 version of the Dreamcast VMU, or I guess the Poker Walker, kinda? It's basically a little device you can plug into the memory card slot of your PS1 and would have functionality with certain games, including Final Fantasy VIII's Chocobo World. I must play that. Anyway, Pocket Kulumon as a PS1 game is somewhat limited, with some general minigame type content, but of course it shines when you put your Kulumon in your pocket.
He said it! He said it!
Where you kind of get a V-Pet meets minigame experience with Kulumon. This is one of those games that, while absolutely could be translated by fans, I think would be so much more of a personal experience, actually physically putting it into your PS1 and using the Pocket Station. Yes, this has been on the set for a good few months now, but I physically bought this game, I think last year or the start of this year, because I just really want to play it. It looks so intriguing, so fascinating, so cute, and of course I had to get the Pocket Station to go along with it. And over the years, I've picked up a bunch of random Japanese phrases and sentences by consuming Japanese media like the Burpmon I am, or basically just watching sub Digimon Adventure 02 and Spy Family, and just never seem to be able to stick the landing, but I think that is all going to change thanks to today's sponsor, Rosetta Stone. I was absolutely thrilled to be hit up by Rosetta Stone while I was making this video. Full transparency, this video was planned way before Rosetta Stone hit me up. This isn't some YouTuber tie-in thing. I legitimately been wanting to make a video on Pocket Kulumon for months. Go back and watch all my videos, it's been in the background. And just haven't taken that dive, either because of my own insecurity in Japanese or just not having time to learn, but now I have Rosetta Stone's app. I took some very rudimentary Japanese classes when I was in high school, but just found myself not sticking with it, as I would have to do it after a long day of school, when I was already exhausted and just wanted to go home and watch Digimon. And then as an adult, trying to find the time as a full-time YouTuber to go to Japanese classes IRL or take them with someone online just wasn't practical. And that is why Rosetta Stone has been giving me a fantastic opportunity to finally commit to learning Japanese. I've just completed my first week of Rosetta Stone, and now I'm about to start my second week. All of my lessons so far seem to have broken down into speaking, listening, and grammar, and I really didn't know whether this was going to work, but I've genuinely found myself already knowing more stuff than I knew before.
Konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa. I passed.
女の子は食べています。
Onanoko tabuteimasu. Pretty good. Messed up a little bit.
男の子は水を飲んでいます。
Otokonoko mizu wo nondeimasu. Boom! And that's how easy it is to use Rosetta Stone. I do it once a day. It lets you set a reminder for a time that works for you. I set mine at about 5 PM. Go through just that course for that day. Usually goes about half an hour, and then you're done for the day. And I do find learning this way is way more handy for me. The app's got a bunch of different courses with language basics, greetings and introductions, and more. And like this extended learning with stories and audio companions, and even on-demand content that you can see here that is culturally based. Because I'm choosing to do Japanese, there's stuff about speaking Japanese in Seattle, how to fillet a fish, fish, how to sharpen Japanese knives, and a ton more. I've been having an absolute blast with the Rosetta Stone, and I really do think you would too. I know a lot of Digimon fans are always waiting for fan translations of things like manga, video games, anime, and other stuff, and aren't even able to read things like magazine interviews with developers and creators. And I really think Rosetta Stone would put all that power in your hand. You wouldn't have to wait for someone else's translations, you would be the translator. So if you want to begin learning Japanese or any of the other languages that Rosetta Stone supports, you should definitely check out my link in the description down below, where you can get a lifetime subscription of Rosetta Stone that would normally cost you $299, but is only $179 for my link, and that is a lifetime subscription. It's always absolutely amazing to work with people like Rosetta Stone that really dovetail perfectly with my content, so it means a lot when you guys go check them out in return, lets me hire artists and things like that, and also it's just a really great fit for the channel. So thank you to Rosetta Stone for sponsoring this video, thank you to you for checking them out, and let's get to our next untranslated Japanese Digimon game. Okay, next up is one you may be more familiar with, but one I bet a tiny fraction of you have played, and that is Digital Monster version S. This is a Sega Saturn Digimon V-Pet game that pretty much acts as a video game version of the Digital Monster range of V-Pets, and came out in 1998. Yet not only did this come out before Digimon Adventure, it also preempts Digimon World by almost a full year, ostensibly making it the first Digimon video game if you don't count the physical V-Pets as video games. And indeed even takes place on File Island, connecting it to games like Digimon World and beyond. And something I find especially interesting is the Digimon that would go on to be prominent fixtures of adventure that debuted specifically in this game, like Angelwomon, Holy Dramon, Saber Leomon, and of course Gatomon. Crazy. Okay, now if you've played any of the rest of the games on this list, I'd be very surprised, and honestly I'd be even more surprised if you've even heard of them. And the first of those is Digimon Park. This JP exclusive PlayStation 1 game is a kind of collection of minigames for kids for the purpose of everyone's favourite word, edutainment! Released in 2001, this actually has some really nice anime-based visuals, including of course Takato and Guilmon, but also Tai and Agumon and Davis and Vmon, among others. There actually seems to be a pretty decent amount of games here, and honestly most of it seems pretty playable, even without understanding what they're talking about. But I think this would be a really nice one to see fan translated, because Bandai aren't going to, let's be real, as it would of course appeal to adult Digimon fans, but also there's a ton of Digimon fans that have kids now of their own, and it'd be nice to have a kind of kids edutainment Digimon game for Digimon parents to give to their Digimon fan hopeful children. And I mean the rest of us Digimon fans are all mentally 5 years old anyway, so it's fine. And while we're talking about Digimon Tamers games that also have Tai and Davis, how specific. One of the almost never discussed WonderSwan Digimon games, which wow, there are a lot of, is Digimon Tamers Digimon Medley. This is more similar to the Rio WonderSwan games and follows stories focusing on the Tamers Gang, Adventure Gang, and 02 Gang. It's a text-heavy pseudo-RPG with battles that will be very familiar to you if you've seen or played anything like Brave Tamer, Anode, Cathode, etc. It's just so odd to me that I've never really seen it brought up in people's talk about WonderSwan Digimon games. Maybe because it's more of a retelling of some events from the first 3 seasons in a medley of gameplay and not as plot critical to 02 like Rio's games are, so maybe people just want to play the Rio games more because they consider them to be like more important to canon or whatever. But either way, interesting that I've never seen Digimon Medley really brought up by a ton of people. And our next Digimon game that never left Japan is so rare, so untalked about by English speaking people that I had to search for it in Japanese on YouTube to find any results. And that is Digimon Gintrix. This was ostensibly a sort of browser/online client for the Digimon Gintrix cards, which did have physical card releases that still unbelievably have a sold out Amazon UK listing, okay? But as I said, hooked onto a big online component where cards could face off against each other in the net card ass. Nice. I just think it's super cool that in 2011 we not only had these like physical Digimon cards, but also a whole online client that they hooked into that you could play online with. Damn, if only Bandai had a new, hugely successful Digimon card game that was in desperate need of a really efficient online client. Nope, I can't think of one either. Oh, but did you think that Digimon Medley before was the only WonderSwan game that no one's talking about? Psych, I got 2 more for you, sucker. Digital Monster D Project and Digimon Adventure 02 Digital Partner. D Project released in 2002 and was one of the last WonderSwan Digimon games to exist. It's full color and honestly kind of super pretty, whereas Digimon Adventure 02 Digital Partner released 2 years earlier and is a monochrome delight. Both of them, from what I can see, have very little English documentation, right down to the Digimon Wiki and Wikimon pages being very small. Actually, I think they're probably just about the right size, actually, probably. If they were bigger, it might be a bit annoying. D Project seems quite reminiscent of the farms you would see in a later good few amount of Digimon Story and Digimon World games, whereas Digimon Adventure 02 Digital Partner has a full-on narrative of its own, even having a gender selection for the protagonist, who I think we've never seen since. The potential of this game is huge, an adventure in the adventure universe that doesn't necessarily follow Rio or the other adventure protagonists. Why is no one talking about this? There actually seems to be a lot of conversation with Digimon in the field rather than exclusively battles, which funnily enough really comes full circle, as you get dialogue options with the wild Digimon you can recruit in Digimon Survive. I think of everything on this list, Digital Partner fascinates me absolutely the most, and if any fan translators are looking for their next project, I would really suggest this one, maybe after Supercross Wars Blue and Red, because I think this might be legitimately one the community doesn't know they want to see, but probably really does. But in the meantime, while we wait for a translation, I'm gonna go brush up on my Japanese, so I can hopefully play it a lot sooner. But thank you all so much for watching. Please do let me know in the comments down below which Japanese exclusive Digimon game you've always wanted to play the most, or if there's a game that already has a fan translation, one that you would like to see an official port of. Do you want to see the WonderSwan games remade in 3D or something? The sky's the limit, we're just having fun here. Let me know in the comments down below. And do let me know also if you want to see me cover more kind of video game content. I know I do skew quite heavily to the anime side of things and the manga, talking what ifs and stuff, but there's so much potential in the video games, especially with Survive coming out. I would love to talk about the video games more, but let me know that too. Huge shout outs to my Sovereign ZDK14, as well as my DigiDestined who support this channel with their hard-earned money that you can see on screen right now, as well as the Tamers, Karn Club, and my Twitch subs. Thank you to everyone who supports this channel, it really does mean the world. Below me is a video that YouTube knows you will like best from my channel, so do go check it out. I think you will like it, and I will see you next time when we go digital. Bye bye.